We throw around the word impact like it's the ultimate leadership goal. But here's the truth. We don't measure a leader's impact by their title, by their revenue, or by the number of followers. We measure it by the internal shift they create in others. A lot of times you can actually feel a good leader in your presence before you actually see it. It's about how people feel when they're led by them. And if we're honest, some leaders leave us more drained than developed. So today I wanted to break down 5 types of leaders that people want to follow. But first, I'm going to start with 5 types of leaders that typically people run from. And I don't know about you, but as I was creating this list, I was thinking about past leaders I had in my life and what were some of the characteristics of them. They're not people you want to be around. And so I came up with this list of 5 leaders that we want to follow, but we're going to start with 5 leaders that we run from, because the real impact isn't built on pressure or performance. It's built on alignment, it's built on integrity, and self-awareness. So if you've ever wondered, am I leading in a way that actually changes lives, or am I just checking boxes? This episode's for you. Welcome back to A Leader's Purpose podcast. My name is Tammy, and I'm your host. I was really looking at what we want to gather. And one of the things that the basic thing we need to know, what are the characteristics of a really good leader that people want to follow? And then what are characteristics or who are these leaders that we run from? We know there's a lot of data out there that revenue and income, they are important, but people stay for a mission. They stay for people. They stay for connection. They stay because they feel their purpose is aligned with the mission of the organization. People stay for people. And so are you one of the leaders who people stay for, or are you somebody who they typically run from? Let's dive in. All right, so we're going to start first with these are 5 characteristics or 5 leaders we do not want to follow, we want to run from, and we don't actually want to be around. So the first is the performative leader. All image, no integrity. So they're obsessed with the way they look and the applause they get, this external validation. They look good on paper, but there's no depth to it. And then they change based on who's watching. They lack authenticity and emotional consistency, which are 2 things that we really need. So you never quite know who you're going to get, and it makes it really hard to trust them. And as we know, we're in a trust recession. Trust is what builds leadership. Trust is what allows the impact. And if we're not able to trust them, then we can't be led by them. So next is the controlling leader. You know who I'm talking about. This person who leads from fear, not vision. So this person's always afraid that someone's going to get their job. They don't trust the people with them. So they lead from fear, not from vision, and they micromanage everything. And typically it's not because they can do it better. It's because of that fear that drives them that this is the way it needs to look. And they don't develop others, they use them. Instead of developing the people within, and I had one of these leaders in the military, she really just cared how she looked to her bosses. And there are so many times that we would have to redo things. And she never really led. She never gave us insight to what is she looking for. She just gave us here's the outcome I want and go get it. And a lot of times it didn't even match up with what our capabilities are or what our vision or our goal as an organization, as a flight was. And so she just demanded things and then she moved you on. If you didn't perform, you were moved out. And so she didn't develop others, she just uses them. And I'm sure you've had bosses the same way. And then the next one is they struggle to release responsibility or share credit. I had a really great flight. I had a really great team. And I would take what she would give me. I would do some research to figure out, okay, what really is the intention here? What are we looking for? And I'd hand it to my people and they were always spot on. They knew their jobs so well. When I sent her the information, I would leave their name on the project. I would leave their information. And then I would see, because I would be CC'd on the email that goes to her boss, and every one of the people, including mine, including my people, everyone's name was off. It was just hers. And so controlling that, micromanaging, letting everyone know that they're in charge, so it's all on them. The problem is that when things fall, they don't take the blame. They allow the failure, missed goals or deadlines, and only take the credit for themselves. You don't feel led when you're with these individuals. You don't feel led, you feel managed, you feel suffocated, and you're left feeling small. The next is the insecure leader. This one makes everything personal. They need constant reassurance. Like, how am I doing? How are things going? And dude, just do your job. Stand in confidence and lead with confidence, because if we don't trust in your confidence and that you know what you're doing and you need constant reassurance from us, then we can't build that trust either. Because if you can't trust you, how are we going to trust you? So constant reassurance feels threatened by others' ideas or growth. One of the joys of being a leader, having a team, is you don't have to come up with the ideas or the growth projections all on your own. You don't have to do all the projects. You don't have to have all the brainstorm sessions. You have people who could add to that and actually make it better. But when you have an insecure leader, they feel threatened by others' ideas and either shuts down or lashes out when challenged. And so it feels very controlling, but you know that it comes from a place of insecurity rather than trust or confidence. And so instead of building trust, they build tension. And because everything feels so fragile, like you're always on the brink. The next is the absent leader, like physically present, but emotionally checked out. I had a boss like this who he was on his way to retirement, and he was a great leader for about a year. And then you could tell he was like 2 months. He avoided hard conversations. It was like, just deal with that after I leave. And so avoiding those conversations that need to be had in the moment. And then also doesn't offer clear direction or feedback. A lot of times this goes into with the insecurity as well. If they don't offer clear direction and feedback, it's really hard to know what they're even looking for, what they want, or if you're being led by them, like which direction to go in. And so when you see them, but they're emotionally checked out, I trust you. I'm talking about someone who you ask for guidance. You are looking because you're new, or it hasn't developed, haven't given you information, hasn't given you clear direction or feedback of what they're looking for. So you're left to lead yourself, and you start to resent them for it because you're doing your job and their job as well. And you don't have the support. You don't have that feedback. You don't feel valued by this leader. You're just another number. And so the rigid leader, stuck in certainty, resistant to growth. This is how it's always been. Dismisses creativity and new ideas, and values control more than collaboration. So you don't feel seen, you feel silenced. They're afraid that if they elevate one of their team members, they will miss out on an opportunity for themselves. They just want it done a certain way. And it's like that iron fist, and it feels suffocating, and you feel silenced in it. And so with these 5 types of leaders, the performative leader, the controlling leader, the insecure leader, the absent leader, and the rigid leader, like, we don't want to be in the room with these people. I want to encourage you to take a look and ask yourself, am I leaning into any of these? Do I have some insecurity? Do I feel a little rigid in areas? Am I absent? Am I there, but am I like checked out with the process? Ask yourself a couple of questions just to see if you're following in this. And ask your people, do you feel supported? Because that right there will give you insight. And so now I want to switch gears, and I want to talk about 5 leaders that people will fight to work for. And these are not, it's not earth shattering. It's not really crazy, stand on a pedestal kind of thing. These are real people who value people. And so the first one is clarity and chaos. We know we can't always have crystal clear clarity. We don't know a lot of times the outcome we're looking for when we start a project, but we follow leaders who bring clarity even when things feel unclear. When you're overwhelmed, you don't follow the loudest voice. You follow the clearest one, the one with that confidence of, I don't know exactly what we're doing, but I know that this is the right path. So let's go. We also, authenticity over image. We trust leaders who are real and not rehearsed. In this day and age of this volatile culture and volatile workplace where you never know one day to the next what's going to happen, we want to follow leaders who are real, not rehearsed. We want to have that authenticity. We want to know that we can trust them. They model what it looks like to be fully themselves, flaws, faith, and all. People don't follow perfection. They follow truth. And truth is something that we can trust. And so when we know we are following a person who is completely and authentically them, it feels safer for the people that you're leading to be themselves and authentic to themselves as well. And so the next one is vision that includes the team. We follow leaders who don't just have a vision, they make everyone on their team a part of it. They create a purpose-aligned momentum that everyone can contribute to. They intentionally make sure that everyone understands and they put the vision in plain English. They let them know what's in it for them. It's not just about where they're going, it's about who they're becoming and who gets to be with them. You want to follow a leader who knows that if they're getting a promotion, if they're going to get a cool project, that they're going to bring you along. People work harder for leaders who have a vision that includes others and realizes that it's not a silo. It's not a, if it's to be, it's up to me. People want to take responsibility. People want to grow. People want to be led to a vision. And so the next one is confidence that grounds, not intimidates. So we've all seen that confidence and that really that arrogance or that pride, when you have that confidence that just grounds you and doesn't intimidate those. So we follow leaders who are secure in who they are without needing to prove it. So their self-awareness creates safety, not control. And so this is why it's important to take those steps towards understanding your core motivations, your core strengths, your core desires, because that's where the confidence comes from. The clarity in who you are called to be and how you bring your zone of genius. So their presence doesn't demand obedience. It inspires ownership. We want to step into our own confidence as well. So we follow leaders who confidence they have grounds them. And so this next one is so important because as we know with social media, body cams, windshield cams and everything, there's always somebody watching. So we want to follow a leader people want to follow a leader who have integrity when no one's watching. So in the Air Force, we have integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. Those are our core values. And as an Enneagram 1, as an improver, integrity is so important to me. So this one really, if I don't sense integrity in you, there's no trust at all. We want to follow leaders whose actions and words match, especially behind the scenes. But the idea is this is the integrity of core values. They are not constantly changing to who they're in front of. It is the integrity of this is who they are, that confidence that they've already built. And it's behind the scenes looks the same as in front of the camera. Trust is built in those quiet moments, not just in the public ones. There's a book that, I don't remember, it's by Terry Savelle Foy. When she talks about how God honors publicly what you'd first develop privately. And so we want to follow leaders who have the integrity to keep their daily habits, who have their integrity to make their actions match their words as much as possible. And we follow leaders who lead the same way in private as they do on stage, and the same way behind the closed doors when they're having their one-on-ones as they do in team meetings and in front of their bosses. So we want to follow leaders who have integrity when no one's watching, confidence that grounds and not intimidates, vision that includes the team, authenticity over image, and clarity in chaos. And if you develop these 5 elements, if you work intentionally, okay, how can I bring my team into the vision that I'm holding? And even the vision that the organization is holding. You start to build trust within your people. And when you do that, not only does it develop you as a leader, but it also develops your team as leaders as well. And it provides that trust and that support to build a cohesive and a culture. These are leaders who build cultures around them that people want to be included with them, and they will fight for the position to work with them. And if you want to make an impact, you've got to be a leader who creates the environment to make an impact. You got to be a leader who puts people first, because impact is how we affect others, how we instill these characteristics in others. And to be a good leader, it's not about, oh, look at me, how good I am. It is really stepping off that pedestal and saying, come with me. Let me help you achieve. Let me help you succeed. Let me help you become the best version of yourself. In order to do that, you have to have the understanding of what the best version of you as a leader is. And so that's why the clarity is so important. This is the first steps to getting to understand who we're created to be. And then we can step into purpose. Then we can step into the next step, but getting clear. And like I mentioned, one of the first things that we look for in a leader is, can they bring clarity in chaos? Can they bring clarity when we have information overload? Can they create a path even when it seems that the forest is overgrown? We don't want to follow the loudest voice or even the most confident voice. We want to follow the clearest one. We want to know that they have direction and we can trust the direction they're going. And so if your leadership requires silence or shrinking, it's not leadership, it's control. People don't lead hard work, they lead harmful leadership. And if you want your people to stay with you, if you want to develop and enjoy the fruit of leadership, build on these 5 characteristics. Get clear on who you are and start to embody the characteristics of a leader. All right, friend, I am so thankful that you're here. And if you have not left me a rate and review, please consider doing so. This really does help, especially since we're rebranding from the full weight of joy to a leader's purpose. And so just to help with that algorithm, I would appreciate it. And also, if you haven't checked out the YouTube channel, and just take the step, take action, do what you need to do to get clarity. Because when we have clarity, and clarity comes from action, clarity comes from a deep understanding of who we come from and who we are and how we're wired. When we have that, we are unstoppable. And we're able to avoid those leadership traps that we don't really want to, these leaders we don't want to be in the first place. We don't really want to be a performative leader or a controlling leader. We definitely don't want to be insecure or absent. And we don't want to be so rigid that we're stuck in certainty and resistance to growth, because in this day and age, growth it's not only a necessity, it's imperative. Like, we have to take actions to grow. All right, friend, with that, hey, I would love to chat. I would love to offer you an elite purpose mapping call. What clarity are you looking for, and how can you get it? What is the fastest way forward? Because we have all the information. And I know you've done the journaling, you've read the self-help books. But now you need a blueprint, you need a framework, you need a map that shows you, okay, here's the direction to get what you want, to become the leader you're looking for. You're looking to become the person and step into your purpose. So get on my calendar and let's talk. Reach out to me, DM me on LinkedIn at Tammy Imlay or on Instagram at Tammy Marie Coaching, and let's talk and choose joy till joy chooses you. And I will see you soon. Bye for now.